All right, well, Hannah, you said you have an update.
I do have an update. I got a kitten. Well, my boyfriend and I got a kitten, but it's
Oh,
my kitten.
okay.
So he is in the bathroom. He's currently in my cousin's room, but he's typically in the bathroom. Him and my cat, they're doing pretty decent. Today was a better day. I think I already told you about that, about how they were like doing better. So it's
Okay.
going pretty well. He just has so much energy, which I should have anticipated more.
Yes, a new kitten has a lot of energy. Yes.
Yeah.
They
So
don't
I'm
slow
learning
down
that the
for a
hard
couple of
way.
years. Yeah, so you got a few years of learning that the hard way.
It'd be great. But I love him. He's so cute. His name is Storm. He's just a little fluffy black cat. And my other cat's named Luna, and she's also black. So I love
Okay.
black animals. I think they're beautiful.
Yes, they are very cute. All right. Well, my question for you today is, do you often remember your dreams?
That's a good question. Yeah, actually, I typically do. And they're always really strange. Yeah.
Okay. I also remember mine, and I have dreams like most nights, which talking to other people, like a lot of times they don't. So,
Hmm.
unless I don't sleep well, I typically remember my dream and I'm always dreaming. So, but now I'm late to the game on this because I recently just learned about something called Mall World, and it was apparently going around TikTok a lot last year. So I'm like really late to missing the conversation. But if anybody is unfamiliar, this is a phenomenon of recurring dreamscape that's often dubbed the small world, and it's captivated people online. People are describing it as a sprawling labyrinth centers filled with endless escalators, looping elevators, and abandoned corridors. It's a collective surreal experience where strangers map out remarkably similar subconscious locations. So, like, the whole idea of the small world is like we are all essentially dreaming of a very similar experience.
Hmm.
And the shared nature of these dreams is like sparked a lot of theory and conversation as to why so many people are wandering these identical halls. So many people think like maybe it has to do with Carl Jung's theory of believing that humanity shares this like the baseline commonality of like a subconscious landscape that we're all a part of and we occasionally tap into during our sleep. And then other people think that maybe there's like some kind of symbolism in like some kind of dream interpretation where a mall is tied to like exploring new directions in life, I
Hmm.
guess,
I've heard that.
weighing your decisions and like testing out different roles. I'm not really sure. But it's like this empty maze-like mall could also represent outgrown paths or a subconscious confusion. I honestly don't know, but mine, I'm always on like this basement level and it's like wide stripped like striped carpeting, and it's a walkway with like hardly anyone there. And I'm like, one way is always like a parking garage, and like another is like the airport. But there's like big box stores, like a Macy's or like different stores like down in the basement area, and like it's a lower level or something. And I'm always trying to get something before the mall closes or like before I have to get somewhere, and I'm always like late for something. And I seem to think that I was like thinking about this a lot because I did a lot of research on this, trying to figure out what everybody else is doing. And then I was like trying to remember what all of my various dreams have been. And I'm always like carrying like a large bag of pillows, like new pillows. And when they give them to you, like if you get them at Kohl's or something, they give you the giant bags, or Macy's, like they give you the giant shopping bag to hold the pillows. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I feel like I'm always carrying something like that and like struggling. And most of the time I'm getting lost in this mall and I'm like, if I'm looking for a bathroom, like what I find is apparently what everybody else finds, which is like a bunch of it's like a bunch of stalls with like lots of
Yeah.
people and no privacy. So I think we all have that about the bathrooms with like short stall doors and like or
Yeah.
no stall doors. Yeah. And then there's often like this theater too, which I didn't think about before recently, but like I was thinking about it last night. I was like, "Oh yeah, like there's always this theater that I always am trying to get to and there's like people there that I know, like my friends are there, so I'm trying to get there." And usually that's where I end up like, "Oh, I can't find a bathroom in the mall that's good. I'll just go to the theater and I'll use the one there." And then it's the same type of problem. It's this like labyrinth of bathroom that like nothing's right. And anyway,
Yeah.
still no privacy. So after writing all my description, that's when I was like doing this like research. And I guess there was like a person, Jessica Tilton on TikTok, and she was describing it. And what she says is creepy because like she has a lot more things mapped out in her mall world, but some of
Mhm.
my things in my mall world are very similar to her mall world. And that's what's really giving me the heebie-jeebies. So
Yeah.
I know we kind of just grazed the surface of this conversation a couple days ago when I heard of this, but like,
Yeah.
and you've heard of this thing too, and it's
Mhm.
so weird.
It's
So
so
you said you
creepy.
have a mall world too, and what is yours like?
My mall world, so first off, it's very vibrant. It has like LED lights and things like that. The You awokened a new memory of mine. The flooring always does have stripes. It's almost like 90's themed. Yeah, it's like
Okay.
yeah. So that's creepy as crud. That's so creepy. I hate that. But yeah, no. So it's that. And in my dream specifically, there was a dealership and there's like a car in the middle. I believe it's a white car if I remember. But there are escalators. And when I had this dream, one of my friends, drove through the mall in a yellow
Oh,
Ferrari. Yeah.
okay.
So I didn't really get to explore. That just happened. There was also a tornado going on because I'm terrified of tornadoes.
Hopefully not in the mall.
Yeah, no, it
Did
wasn't
you
in the mall, but it was like
did you
outside.
have that one after Twister?
No, I had this when I was like 10 or 11. Like this dream has stuck with me because it's so weird. Like I don't know how a 10 or 11-year-old was driving a Ferrari, but he was, and I appreciate that.
Oh my goodness. Well, it seems like we have a common experience then, because it's
It's
it's freaking me out, Hannah. It honestly
me
is creeping me
too.
out that other people are, because I'm like, oh, and it's not like, oh, you hear of something and maybe think it might relate to something you did too. It's like, no, I like wrote my description down and then I looked at her TikTok and I was like, it's creepy how much my stuff is in there.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's really creepy. It kind of reminds me
I
of the
don't understand.
bathrooms. Like that's what it is. It's like a
Yeah.
bathroom.
Yeah. I mean, I think the bathroom one makes sense because like we all have this fear of
Yeah.
like and like obviously you don't want to go to the bathroom in your dream because then you might go to the bathroom in real life, you're not sure. But I don't know. The whole thing just like really confuses me as to
Yeah.
what's going on here, what's happening.
Mhm.
Um
It's really
anyway.
strange. I don't like it.
Well, listeners, you are listening to Millennial Meets Gen Z 90's edition, the podcast where one of us grew up with the movies, music, and pop culture of the 90's, and the other is discovering it for the first time. I'm Allison, the Millennial,
I'm Hannah, the Gen Z.
and each week we rewind a different piece of 90's culture to see why these stories stick with us today, what holds up, what doesn't. And so, whether you've lived through it or you are just discovering it for the first time, let's rewind. Well, this week's movie comes to us from 1997 and was Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery, the first of its series. Now, the synopsis is in 1967, groovy British spy Austin Powers thwarts his arch nemesis, Dr. Evil, who escapes by cryogenically freezing himself in space. To ensure he can stop Evil's return, Powers also enters cryostasis. 30 years later, in 1997, Dr. Evil thaws out, steals a nuclear weapon, and demands a $1 billion ransom. The British Ministry of Defense awakens Austin Powers to stop him. Out of his element in the 1990s, Austin teams up with Agent Vanessa Kensington to track Dr. Evil to Las Vegas. Unfortunately, someone on the streaming services is slacking, and this is still a rental on Amazon or wherever you get your rentals since the days of Blockbuster and then, I guess, Redbox. It was written by Mike Myers, who was a writer and comedian on SNL. He wrote Wayne's World 1 and 2, the Austin Powers series, and The Love Guru. We'll get into his acting credits a little bit later. Now, it was directed by Jay Roach, who started with his first movie being Zoo Radio, but he did things like Meet the Parents, Dinner for Schmucks, The Campaign, Trumbo, and Bombshell. So, Hannah, what did you think of this one?
I loved this one.
Oh,
I loved this one. Oh my
Oh my
God.
gosh.
It was, as you say, it was so hokey, but so funny. Like, I was dying laughing the entire time. As we know, have a habit of watching a movie like 2 or 3 times. I watched this movie 3 times. First, because I was a little too tired to like fully lock in. Second time, I was so locked in. Third time, I just wanted to watch it again.
Oh
So
my
I
gosh.
loved this one. It was
Oh
so
no.
funny. In most of the scenes, I didn't even know how to react. I was just like, what is going on? I love everything about this. And for any like early 2000s kids, I would say, if you guys have seen Phineas and Ferb, it's literally just like that. I think Phineas and Ferb was based on Austin Powers.
Phineas and Ferb is like Austin Powers? Oh,
Wait,
because it's going after like an evil doctor.
Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Dr. Evil, I feel like Dr. Doofenshmirtz was like based on Dr. Evil a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's a connection my brain made. And there were actors slash actresses I actually recognized, which I was like, oh, I'm so excited.
That always, yeah, the fact that you're getting better at that is just like also to me. So I'm excited. All right. Well, let's rewind. We open with intense music in 1967, somewhere outside of Las Vegas. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my underground lair. I have gathered here before me the world's deadliest assassins, yet each one of you has failed to kill Austin Powers. That makes me angry. And when Dr. Evil gets angry, Mr. Bigglesworth gets upset. And when Mr. Bigglesworth gets upset, people die. Now, this is my
My
favorite line of
God.
the entire movie. It's like that cracked me up. I forgot about how much I love Mr. Bigglesworth. So,
He's so cute too until he's
and
homeless.
he's always like, "Come, Mr. Bigglesworth!" Like, so cute with this kitty. Meow mix, meow mix. Um, so assassins are sitting around a table, including one with a hook for a hand and a cigar at the end of his hook, but I digress. Dr. Evil pushes a button and they fall into the floor and flames shoot out. And he says, "Why must I be surrounded by freaking idiots?" And I'm sorry, I can't do Dr. Evil's just like the way that he talks, but
He's
I'm
so
not
fun.
great at I might try a couple of times. We'll see how it goes. So he spared two people because he needs them to help him kill Austin Powers. Then we head to London, England, where we see Austin Powers dancing on the sidewalk. Sorry, grooving on the sidewalk and taking photos of models. Oh, behave. Then running from women, and then he's like on the cover of this magazine and then leading a parade. And it's right here that I wonder if Hannah's actually going to hate this because I remember we had that discussion about you hating musicals, and there was like in the beginning, especially your first time watching it, it was like singing and dancing, and he's like leading a parade, and I was like, she might think this is going to be a musical. Um,
I
okay,
actually didn't hate that. I liked the little cutscenes too of him like dancing and like
just
in a bit.
dancing.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I liked that.
All right, all right. Well, that's what they used to do in like 1960s movies, is they would, especially like beach movies, they would have like a little, like when they're cutting from one scene to another, a little dance thing in between. So it's very common in the 60s movies to have that, and that's where that comes from.
I really like that actually. See, like I don't like musicals, but I like that. I feel like it's
Okay.
nice to transition from one part to another. It like soothes my brain.
I forgot that they did that, and it was weird when I saw it. But I was like, "Uh-oh, Hannah might not like this." Now, Dr. Evil and Austin Powers are played by the same person, Mike Myers. He is known for his work on Saturday Night Live, Wayne's World, the Austin Powers series, and The Love Guru. He's also been in So I Married an Axe Murderer, Shrek. Most people know him as Shrek. View from the Top, The Cat in the Hat, Inglorious Bastards, and Bohemian Rhapsody. Now he gets picked up by Mrs. Kensington in a British flag convertible. She is played by Mimi Rogers, who is in Lost in Space, Ginger Snaps, and The Big Nothing. He gets a call from Basil Exposition and who's with the British intelligence, and on a TV phone, he tells him that Dr. Evil is planning a trap at the Electric Psychedelic Pussycat Swingers Club. It's a long name.
Love it.
And so they go there, and he's like, "It's happening, baby." And it freaks me out. And he's all over the party, and he's dancing, and he hits on a waitress who ends up being a man. And Dr. Evil shoots the waitress poser in the back, and Austin Powers takes off after Dr. Evil. Then Dr. Evil gets in a pod and calls out to his cat, "Come, Mr. Bigglesworth. See you in the future, Mr. Powers." And the doors close on a cryogenic egg-shaped chamber. Mrs. Kensington says he's freezing himself, and then the egg and the giant big boy on top of the building take off into space. In 1997, 30 years later, NORAD calls the DoD, and they have a bogey in the shape of a big boy. Now, the NORAD guy, the radar operator, I don't know if you recognize him, but he is played by Clint Howard, who has been in a ton of things. He's got 260 credits to his name, and we just saw him as the KJZZ disc jockey in That Thing You Do. So
Oh
he
my
was
God.
like a radio DJ in that movie when Guy Patterson is like going on and on to the radio DJ about like doing Del Paxton songs in high school. And he was like, "Del Paxton in high school, that's crazy." That's the same guy.
Oh my God. Yeah, that one I did not recognize. I I
No,
would not have
it's all right.
recognized that. I don't think I ever will
He had a
recognize
minor
that.
part. I mean, he was a minor
Yeah.
part in both movies, but he was in Backdraft, The Rocketeer, Forget Paris, The Waterboy, Ed TV, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, just in the 90s alone.
Oh my
And
God.
then the guy from DoD, who's Commander Gilmore, he was played by Charles Napier. He was in Silence of the Lambs, so we might be seeing him later. Rambo 2 and Blues Brothers. Now, DoD heads to England to the cryogenic storage facility, and we see Vanilla Ice on ice, which I thought was hilarious. Uh, and they cut out Austin Powers and they put him in warm liquid goo. They reanimate him, they cleanse him, they let him pee a very, very long time. It's comedically long. We see the Russian intelligence General Borchevsky, played by Elia Baskin, who most people may know from Spider-Man. So he was in Spider-Man 1 and 2, and I think Spider-Man 3. I think he plays an evil guy in that series. They tell Austin Powers that there is a madman on the loose in Nevada, to which he says, "Dr. Evil, when do I begin?" They tell him he'll be working with Mrs. Kensington, but not the one he remembers. It's her daughter, Ms. Kensington. Ms. Vanessa Kensington is played by Elizabeth Hurley, who's known for her roles in Strictly Confidential, The Royals, and Bedazzled, where she plays the devil. She was also in a 90s remake of My Favorite Martian, which is on our list, Ed TV, Serving Sarah, and Gossip Girl. He says that she has a fab body and probably shags like a minx and has no inner monologue due to the unfreezing process, which mine was a virus at the grocery store, but unfreezing process is pretty good too. She says her
He
job.
was so gross at first. If like her reactions were so understandable. He was so creepy.
Yeah, dude is
The
creepy in
tar.
general, but yeah.
The tar.
Um, she sees her job is to acclimatize him to the 90s, and he says as long as people are having mindless, unprotected sex while experimenting with drugs in a consequence-free environment, he would be all for it.
I
He
liked
gets his effects for danger powers, and he corrects them that danger's my middle name. Which is like a long setup to do that, to set that up and register all of your stuff under Danger Powers so that 30 years later you can be like, "Danger's my middle name." It's one crushed blue velvet suit, one frilly lace cravat, one silver medallion with a male symbol, one pair of Italian leather boots, one vinyl album of Burt Bacharach plays his hits, which who carries around a vinyl album? But okay. And the quartermaster says one Swedish made penis enlarger, and Austin Powers says to Vanessa, "That's not mine." And the quartermaster clerk says one credit card receipt for a Swedish made penis enlarger signed by Austin Powers, and Austin Powers like, "I'm telling you, baby, that's not mine." Quartermaster clerk says one warranty card for Swedish made penis enlarger pump filled out by Austin Powers, and Austin Powers says, "I don't even know what this is. This sort of thing ain't my bag, baby."
the
Quartermaster clerk
way that
says,
was a theme the entire movie. Like,
yeah.
why is the penis enlarger in
The quartermaster clerk says one book, Swedish made penis enlargers and me. This sort of thing is my bag, baby, by Austin Powers. Now, Vanessa asks to stop being called baby and settles for Vanessa, and they head to his jet. Now, somewhere outside Las Vegas in the underground layer, Dr. Evil is meeting with those who are left. He says, due to a technical error in the unfreezing process from Mustafa, complications arose. Now, Mustafa says his design was perfect, and Dr. Evil shouts, look what you did to Mr. Bigglesworth! And we see a hairless cat, so the cat lost all its hair. Now,
Wait, do you
Mustafa
like hairless cats? I want to know your opinion on hairless cats.
I think that all animals are great. I would not have one myself.
Okay,
They
that makes
have a little, it's weird to see all their wrinkles, but we're all gonna look like that one day, Hannah. We're all gonna be old and wrinkly.
I
So
think they're
I try
so
not to judge.
yeah, there I get that. There's some animals like bulldogs or pugs. I think they're so ugly that they're like so cute. You know what I mean? Like they're just like wrinkly cute little animals.
Sure,
That's
sure.
how hairless cats make me feel. They're cute, but they're
I
like
try not
hungry.
to have opinions about hairless cats because also I know that they probably suffer more abuse because people don't think they're as cute. And so just any animal that people think are ugly, I try not to like outwardly talk about much outside of just saying that, yeah, they're cute and they deserve love, just like everything else. So well,
Yeah.
Mustafa is played by Will Ferrell, which we know from SNL, but he's been in Talladega Nights, Anchorman, Blades of Glory, and so many other comedies. He
Elf.
he is dumped into the flames because of what he did to Mr. Bigglesworth. I mean, I get it. You did that to my cat, I would dump you into flames too.
Yeah.
Now, let this be a reminder to all of you that this organization will not tolerate failure. Dr. Evil says he's trying to continue, but Mustafa is still alive, just very badly burned, and wants someone to call an ambulance. So Dr. Evil picks up the phone and sends someone to shoot him and to get him stopped complaining. What's left is Frau Farbizina, Random Task, the Asian assassin, and Patty O'Brien, an ex-Irish assassin. He has Lucky Charms, and Frau Farbizina laughs. It's a television commercial with this cartoon leprechaun and all those little children trying to chase him. Hey, leprechaun man, we want to get your Lucky Charms.
I
Oh, and
love
then there
that
will be
part.
little
I love
tiny
her.
marshmallows stuck right in the cereal so that when the kids eat them, they think, ooh, this is candy. I'm having fun.
I love
Now,
her.
Frau Farbissina is played by Mindy Sterling. She was in the series as well, the whole series of Austin Powers, as well as Drop Dead Gorgeous. Now, number two, man, his name is number two. He's like the face of VirtueCon, the company that essentially has been keeping everything in the Dr. Evil world alive. They changed from doing volatile chemicals to communications industry and list some of their holdings, including a factory in Chicago that makes miniature models of factories, which I thought was funny.
I did not like number two. He freaked me out.
Why?
He was just my least favorite character. I don't know how to explain it. I
That's
have
weird.
that written down too. I
He
said number
freaked you
two
out.
makes me uncomfy. He just
Okay. Makes you uncomfy like that.
yeah, it was a
Okay.
lot.
Well, Dr. Evil's first plan to blackmail the royal family of Britain and make it seem like Prince Charles has had an affair outside of marriage and would have to divorce, but that already happened. And he's like, throw me a freaking bone here. Dr. Evil's next plan, he has developed a laser. He says they would punch a hole in the ozone layer around the Earth, and slowly but surely, UV rays would pour in, increasing the risk of skin cancer unless the world pays a hefty ransom. And number two is like, that also already happened. And Dr. Evil says, shit. Oh, well, let's just do what we always do and hijack some weapons and hold the world hostage. He suggests they hold the world ransom for $1 million. And number
That's
two
my
tells
favorite part.
him that $1 million is nothing. Their company makes 9 billion a year. So he changed it to $100 billion. Now, Austin Powers' jet is multicolored. We see him and Vanessa on it. Vanessa wants Austin to sign a release form for the Ministry of Defense, and Austin wants to hit on her and convince her to sleep with him, but she's not interested. She asks him to give his libido a rest. He gets on the bed and she sits next to him. which I'm like, why would you even sit next to him?
With
He
his
turns
weird
this,
dance, the rotating bed.
yeah, he turns the spinning bed on, and with the turbulence on the plane, she falls, and he pretends to fall on top of her. She says she's not interested in him, even if the human race depended on it, and they were the last people on Earth. She sits further away, and he's still hitting on her, and she pretends she doesn't like it, but apparently she does, which
Yeah.
I was like, why?
Like her creepy little smile she had after that interaction, I was like, girl, what? Because everyone was like, he's so charming. Oh my God, he was not charming. And I think that
Right?
was so funny. Like, that
Right?
man was not, like,
That's
his
why I was like,
character.
I don't like this love story, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
no.
Back at Dr. Evil's lair, Frau asks him, remember when they froze the semen to create a son? Well, she got a little impatient and had that son. She introduces Dr. Evil to his son, Scott. Now, Scott is played by Seth Green, who we've seen before and can't hardly wait. But he's been in Party Monster, The Italian Job. He's in lots of voices on Robot Chicken. He's also in Can't Buy Me Love, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Josie and the Pussycats, as we just saw him in that video of their uh, boy band.
Yeah, I was
Um,
thinking about that.
America's Sweethearts, Rat Race, Without a Pedal, Be Cool, Old Dogs, Dads, Hulk, and the Agents of Smash. And he's done tons of voiceover work, including Family Guy. Now, Scott doesn't like that his dad has been absent his whole life.
Yeah,
He
he's
says,
angry.
now you come back and expect a relationship? And Dr. Evil wants, hug, hug. He tries to force a hug, and he's like, I'm hip. And he goes, tuk 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 tuk. And he
And
does like a
Scott's like,
really,
get away from me, you one-eyed psycho. It's like, no.
he does a really bad Macarena, and Scott runs away from him.
Fair. I
In
would
Vegas, they get into the room, and Austin asks Vanessa if she needs to take a shower. Her suitcase is all labeled, and her gun is bigger than his. He packed his penis pump.
too.
They go through the casino looking for VirtueCon executives, and they see number two at a table playing blackjack. And Austin Powers sits down. The blackjack dealer is a person named Larry Thomas, who was in Postal, Mindy Over Mindy, and Changing Hands. So you might have seen him in some other things, but he is a notable person. Austin Power loses and introduces himself as Richie Cunningham and introduces Vanessa as Oprah. So I know that you know who Oprah is. Do you know who Richie Cunningham is?
No, not really. No.
Okay. Okay, so Richie Cunningham was a character in Happy Days, which was a show that was on during the 60s, played by Ron Howard, who is now a major director. So,
Oh,
all right.
okay.
Well, number two is played by Robert Wagner, who is known for his role in The Towering Inferno and Dragon the Bruce Lee story. He was also in It Takes a Thief, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Switch, and Heart to Heart, which was a really good show, detective show. Number two introduces himself and his secretary, a lot of vagina. She was played by Fabina Andino, who was in Summer School, Fubar, and Jane the Virgin. Now, Austin Powers is about this, and so he asks what he does, and number two excuses himself to the little boy's room, and Austin Powers follows him in there. There is a blind lavatory attendant, and a man in a cowboy hat walks in. Now, the man in the cowboy hat is played by Tom Arnold, who is a comedian as well. He has been in like skits on SNL. He was in True Lies, The Stupids, Exit Wounds, and 9 Months. In Austin's stall, the wall opens behind him, and the Lucky Charms guy tries to strangle him as the cowboy thinks he's just pooping in the stall next to him.
That
He
was so funny. He was
That's
so
so gross.
encouraging.
Encouraging? You want somebody to encourage you while you're going to the bathroom?
I could probably use that. That'd be nice.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm not gonna do that for you, Hannah. So Austin ends up drowning the Lucky Charms guy in the toilet, and later we see Dr. Evil say the warhead is ours, and he patches a video through to the United Nations Security Secret Meeting Room, which is full of people in cultural garb. It was very weird, and he threatens that if they want the warhead, they're gonna have to pay $1 million, which they laugh at, and he says, $100 billion.
Like,
And then,
why a million? Why was like,
because that's a lot of money in 1967.
yeah, that makes sense. It was so funny. I
Well,
loved
the
that.
speaker for the United Nations says Mr. Evil, and Dr. Evil cuts him off and says, Dr. Evil. I didn't spend 6 years in evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much. Now, the UN secretary is played by Brian George, who was in Ghost World, Keeping the Faith, Hotel Transylvania, and Batman the Killing Joke. The UN says they won't negotiate with terrorists, and Dr. Evil hangs up. He thinks they'll pay out in 5 days, and then they laugh evilly, and then they stop.
It was so creepy. Oh my God. I
Well,
forgot about
Vanessa at the hotel calls her mommy. She says she made Austin sleep on the sofa. She says his teeth are terrible, and we can see that he's naked in the background. Later, a limo pulls up and they see Dr. Evil's cat hop in and the car drives away. Austin takes photos of Vanessa and says she's pretty and he wants to take her out for a night on the town. They drive around and look at the sights as Burt Baccarat plays the world. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. They sightsee and they dance. They see shows. They play in casinos. Then they go back to the hotel and play Twister. He does the escalator stairs bit behind the couch. My brother used to actually do this where you're like pretending to be in an elevator and start, or you're like,
Wait, really?
yeah. Um, she laughs and drinks some more. She falls asleep on him talking about how much he loved her mom. The computer rings and AOL, here we are. Hannah, you could recognize AOL now. Did you
That
recognize
is
AOL? That's its character
so,
all on its own. You got mail.
it's so creepy. Yeah, no, I do not like that. I am so glad technology has improved.
You've got mail. Well, Basil calls and says he needs to go to Alada's penthouse to find out what part of the company plays in the plan and the Project Vulcan, something about Project Vulcan. So Austin breaks in and takes pictures of these documents that she just has out there in a binder. It's ridiculous. And then she comes home and suggests that she'll slip into something more comfortable, and then she gets in the hot tub naked. He starts to get undressed. She washes him and rifles through his stuff when he's not looking, and she offers him sake, gets him drunk. Well, Dr. Evil says Austin Powers is getting too close, and Frau F created the ultimate weapon to defeat Austin Powers. She created the fembots. They can shoot bullets from their boobs, for anybody unfamiliar. Dr. Evil says it's quite impressive. He likes to see women of their caliber, which was supposed to be punny. Nobody really got the pun. I like the pun. I think Dr. Evil might be my favorite character.
He is
Vanessa
so
then
funny.
outfits Austin with some gadgets back at headquarters. He thinks the toothbrush and the toothpaste are tech, but she just wants him to brush his teeth. Austin hands over the images he took, and Vanessa asks where he found them, and Basil tells her he was over at Alada's house doing reconnaissance. Basil introduces his mother to Austin, and Austin punches her in the face and tries to rip off her hair, saying it's a wig. She's a man. Um, Austin says that if she isn't a man, she was beaten with an ugly stick, which is just like very rude. Now, Basil is played by Michael York, who's known for his roles in Logan's Run, Cabaret, Romeo and Juliet, The Three Musketeers, Murder on the Orient Express, and he's even in Gilmore Girls. In a group therapy session for parents and their sons, Dr. Evil and Scott are trying to work out their issues that they just met 5 days ago, and he's expected to take over the family business. Scott says, "Well, but who's going to take over the world when I die?" Dr. Evil says. And Scott says he wants to be a vet or work in a petting zoo. And Scott says his dad wants to kill him. And Dr. Evil admits that that's true. The
That
therapist,
was so scary. Like,
the
why does he
therapist
want to
then
kill his son?
he asks about Dr. Evil's childhood, which was disturbing and weird. And the therapist is played by, go ahead, Hannah.
Carrie Fisher.
You recognize her. And
Yes.
what is she most known for?
Star Wars as Princess
Yeah.
Leia. I love her as Princess Leia.
Well, Vanessa says she doesn't trust that Austin was with Alana, and he admits to sleeping with her, and Vanessa is appalled. He says it meant nothing to him, baby, but Vanessa said it meant something to her. She says if he wants them to mean something, he needs to change, and he says she's everything to him. She says he doesn't get it, and welcome to the 90s. He goes out and doesn't fit in the 90s. He tries the CD, he plays with sneakers, he watches the moon landing, he drinks some tab, sees the Berlin Wall coming down. Austin and Vanessa in costume take a tour of VirtueCon later. Vanessa is jealous of Alada. They see a restricted area and people go out and into the bathroom and they dress like the workers and gain access. They get reported and the security guards come after them. They hop on a slow-moving steamroller and drive 100 yards to run over a security guard who refuses to move. So just very annoyed about that whole. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be very funny, and it is very funny, but also like, dude, move, guy. Like you're just standing there going,
Yeah.
um. But this whole section about like them, like she's jealous and like she wants him to change. Like I just feel like there isn't enough like setup as to why she would like him.
I agree. I also think it's weird because they knew each other for like a few days.
And like their partners. Doesn't
Yeah.
she have any thought to the fact that they have a working relationship? Like there's no
Yeah.
consideration for is this going to ruin our working relationship or ruin the op or any consideration at all. The whole thing was just really weird.
It was.
Anyway, they get taken out by the Asian assassin, Random Task. The random task is played by Joe Son. He was in Bad Blood and Joshua Tree, where they are taken to Dr. Evil's underground lair just in time. The Vulcan is a subterranean drill that will deliver a nuclear warhead to the Earth's crust and will simultaneously cause every volcano on Earth to erupt. The UN says that they have no choice but to pay the ransom, and Dr. Evil accidentally turns on Beavis and Butthead, then finally shuts off the TV after telling the UN that they have 24 hours. Scott shows up and Dr. Evil asks how he's doing. And he tells the story of his day, and Dr. Evil really doesn't care. And he asks what his plans are. And Scott says he was going to stay in and watch Skinamax. And Dr. Evil goes to push the button on Scott's chair. And, and the Frau stops him. Frau Farbina stops him. So
He had
Dr.
to be
Evil and
stopped multiple times too, which is crazy. Like, stop trying to kill your son.
well, I mean, he seems to be kind of a waste for what he was trying to go for. And if you see the next movie, you'll understand a little bit better. But Dr. Evil introduces Scott to Austin Powers and says he's going to put them in a situation with an overly elaborate death. Austin asks Dr. Evil if he really expects them to pay, and he says, "No, Mr. Powers, I expect them to die. Even after they pay me the money, I am still going to melt every city on the planet with hot, liquid magma." Now, Dr. Evil says, "Release the sharks." And Mr. Powers, "You'll notice that all the sharks have laser beams attached to their heads. I figure every creature deserves a warm meal." Number 2 says, "Dr. Evil, it's about the sharks. When you were frozen, they were put on the endangered species list. We tried to get some, but it would have taken months to clear up the red tape. You know, I have one simple request, and that is to have sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads. Now, evidently, my cycloptic colleague, it's like such a tongue twister there, my cycloptic colleague, because he has an eye patch, informs me that this can't be done. Can you remind me what I pay you people for? Honestly, throw me a bone here. What do we have?" Number 2 says sea bass. Dr. Evil says, "Right." Number 2 says, "They're mutated sea bass." And Dr. Evil says, "Really? Are they ill-tempered?" Number 2 says, "Absolutely." And Dr. Evil says, "That's a start, you know." So they begin the unnecessarily slow dipping as he closes the door. He doesn't care to watch them die, and Scott just wants to shoot them. And Dr. Evil shushes him. Shush, 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 shush.
I bet he kept talking.
Austin and Vanessa don't have a plan. Then Vanessa pulls the floss, to which Austin says he gets it just because he has bad teeth. And she says, no, it's meant to swing onto the ledge. He then asks for the toothpaste, which he judo chops all over the security guard. And then he trips the security guard into putting his head in the tank and the sea basket, his head. Now, Rob Lowe is supposed to be in that scene somewhere. And I forgot to look for him. I think
Yeah.
he's in that scene or right before, but
Yeah,
he's
no.
supposed to be like the friend of the headless guard. I don't know what that means. Then Austin starts making head puns. They take a cart, and Austin sends Vanessa to get help using the emergency exit. He says he feels bad about the Italian bird. He stops her and says that he feels bad about the Italian woman, and she says he'll be a one, or he says he'll be a one-woman man. So he's like kind of saying he's gonna shape up for her.
Yeah. In
And
his
then
own
she says, behave. And then he tries to maneuver the cart and can't turn it around.
way.
Now, that used to be my favorite part when I
Right.
saw this movie because I was like, like you have to get it on that spot.
Okay.
Um, Dr. Evil asks Scott if he wants to see what Daddy does for a living, and he takes him to the positioning of the Vulcan, and they bring in the warhead. Austin breaks into the room only to find fembots. They ask if he wants to have a little fun, and he declines to save the world. And one of them sits up on his shoulders, and another sprays toxins with her boobs. So he's stuck there. Meanwhile, Dr. Evil is arming the drill with the warhead. Austin gets distracted and then realizes, no, he has to get Dr. Evil, and they're holding him down. Now, Vanessa gets back to headquarters and gets back, and she gets back up for them. The fembots say Austin can't resist them, but he tells them actually they can't resist him. And then he turns on his moves, which shorts out the fembots. Vanessa sees him dancing in his underwear, and all the fembots are broken. Vanessa, though, says that she believes him and tells him to get dressed. Now, Dr. Evil begins launching the subterranean probe. They break in and they start taking out Dr. Evil's security one at a time, and Dr. Evil tries to get away. The probe destruction begins, and Austin reaches to disarm the machine. He hits the abort button, and then he gets to chase Dr. Evil. But Dr. Evil is going to feed his cat Meow Mix because he's like, I've got chicken, I've got liver. Meow mix, please deliver. And Dr. Evil says the 90's shows him that swingers were evil, and Austin says, what we swingers were rebelling against were uptight squares like you, whose bag and was money and world domination. We were innocent men. If we'd known the consequences of our own sexual liberation, we would have done things differently, but the spirit would have remained the same. It's freedom, baby, yeah. Dr. Evil says freedom failed, and Austin says freedom didn't fail. Right now, we've got freedom and responsibility. It's a groovy time. Austin gets interrupted by Alada holding Vanessa hostage at gunpoint. Austin grabs Scott, and Dr. Evil says, go ahead. And Scott says, well, we had a breakthrough in group. And Dr. Evil says he liquidated the group because they were all insolent. And Scott says he hates him and wished he was never artificially created in a lab. Dr. Evil says, Scott, that hurts Daddy when you say that. Now, number two shows up and tells him to take Austin powers, and number two says no. He says there's no world anymore, it's only corporations. And Dr. Evil tells him to be silent. And number two starts crying and says he's had enough of him pushing him around. I loved. Number two offers a business proposition to Austin, but Dr. Evil pushes the button and sends number two into the fiery pit. Dr. Evil hops in his egg ship with Mr. Bigglesworth and takes off. Austin and Vanessa run out as the alarms are going off and the place is shaking and it seems like it's really going to blow up. So they climb out of the emergency exit, they run to the car, and they drive away, and the underground layer explodes. 3 months later, Austin and Vanessa get married. They make love and Basil calls. They're naked and covering themselves with fruit and such for innuendos. Basil says Dr. Evil has escaped in his rocket and disappeared from their tracking system. Vanessa has been made a full agent, and Austin is to be knighted. Now, he says he ordered champagne, and the assassin gets there. They have to fight off the shoe to the head, which is like that Asian assassin. He like throws his shoe, hits Austin in the head. And he's just like, ow. And he tells him he fights like a woman. And then he uses his penis pump to attack the gentleman while Vanessa hits him over the head. And then they are looking at the stars and they see Dr. Evil in his big boy spaceship in space. And that is the end of this crazy movie. So, what did I miss? And what is the Hannah rating out of 10?
Okay, I'll start with what like my thoughts were, because I think I want to say my rating last. So, first off, the movie just gave me fever dream vibes the entire time. Like watching it made me feel like I was like off something. You know what I mean? Like just watching, I was
Or
like,
on something?
I would imagine like hallucinogens would feel like, or something. Was this
I
movie?
get it. Yeah.
So
Very colorful. It's very crazy. And it's very like you must have been on drugs when you wrote this. Yeah.
yeah, so it was. I liked that though. I thought it was funny, and I was just like, wow, I get to live through people's experiences by watching a movie. It was great. I loved that though. I also liked seeing Will Ferrell and Carrie Fisher and Seth Green. That was awesome. I already said the Phineas and Ferb thing. The $1 million. I know I said this earlier, but it was so funny how he was so confident about that.
You can't say it without putting your pinky to your mouth. $1 million.
And then he said it twice. Like the fact that he brought it up twice was so funny. I was like, what are you doing? I don't know. I think at that point though, if you were a nation and someone was threatening this for $1 million and you had like an unlimited amount of money basically, would you just pay them off?
Well, but he changed it to 1 billion once he realized that 1 million wasn't
Like,
enough.
yeah,
So
but like
100, sorry, 100 billion. You don't have 100 billion to spend.
but like theoretically, if it was a million, like what would you do in that situation?
They would have just paid it. That's what he was
Okay,
like, oh, a million. Because when he said it initially, they were like, oh, that's no big deal.
yeah, no, I'm meaning like you personally. It's good,
Oh,
good to
personally, I don't have a million
yeah.
dollars. Do I have, how much money do I have? If I have 2 million, I'm not giving him 1 million.
No, like if you're like the president of a nation.
And my nation, but nations don't all have $1 million. So, and my nation has more than $1 million.
Yes, your nation's
And
like
what's he threatening to do? And do I have somebody like Austin Powers to stop him? I think
they
I think I'd kidnap his cat and like hold it hostage. Be like, if you want to see Mr. Bigglesworth back, then you
that's a
will
good
solve
one.
the situation, or Bigglesworth gets it. I wouldn't actually have it happen to Bigglesworth, but maybe I would like, yeah, I would threaten
Okay,
Mr. Bigglesworth for sure.
okay,
Because that's
okay, I
what he
like
cares about. You got to go what he cares about. He doesn't care about Scott. It's not like
it.
you can be like, he would be like, we'll just make another one later. Like, which again, when you watch the second movie, you'll understand the Scott relationship and why Dr. Evil, like what he really wants.
Oh my God, I want to ask for so many spoilers, but I won't because now I kind of
I
want
can't
like
tell ya. I can't tell ya. But yeah,
oh,
you should eventually watch some of the other ones. They're all supposed to be like, so the whole idea is that a lot of people thought, and I can understand why, that Dr. Evil was supposed to be like kind of a representation of Lorne Michaels because they have the kind of the same accent and the same sound. But Austin, he's Mike Myers, his real person. Um, so I should have said Lorne Michaels is in charge of SNL. So like that's his show.
okay.
He started SNL. So everybody that went through SNL knows who like worked closely with Lorne Michaels. And the accent that Dr. Evil has, the way he talks sounds a lot like Lorne Michaels. So everyone was like, is this Lorne Michaels? And Mike Myers was like, no, it's actually a character in one of the James Bond movies. I haven't I don't know the character or the movie in particular. I probably could have put that in my notes, but I didn't. and I don't think that I have a reference. I don't think I've seen it to have a reference point. But yeah, he says that the speech patterns and the way that he talks is it's probably influenced by a lot of things, to be honest with you, though, but it
Yeah.
does sound a lot like Lorne Michaels.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just Mike Myers wrote a lot of interesting characters. But the thing is that the more you go into the other movies, I think are also supposed to be playing on some Bond. Well, they do. They play on some of the Bond movies and some of the Bond themes. But the more you go into the movies, like I think the more outlandish they get.
Uh,
So it gets more fever dream, I guess. It gets
okay.
more crazy. And he plays more characters,
Oh my God, I
which
kind of
is
like that. That's cool that he played multiple characters.
I mean,
That's
it's a very Eddie Murphy thing to do. Like Eddie Murphy used to do that in his movies. Um, which I
kind of reminds me of like actor, voice actors from Big Mouth, because Nick Kroll plays a bunch of actors. You
well,
should
I
watch
mean,
Big
it's one
Mouth. It's
thing.
funny.
Well, I've seen it, but like the one thing is like that makes sense when it's a voice and you can do multiple voices.
That's true.
Um, because what the other one guy that does like a billion, he's also in Robot Chicken. He does like a bunch of different voices. Seth Green does a bunch of different voices. That makes sense. But when you're like just putting on prosthetics to play like a billion different, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like
And
a lot of
also,
work.
well, they also get some, one of the characters in one of the movies was just like gross. And like it goes past my level of comfort, I guess.
Mm.
But this movie came out and I was middle school. My brother was in high school. It was the perfect hit for him. This was his favorite movie at the time. He was obsessed. Every other word was something quoting Austin Powers.
Aw.
He, my dad and my stepmom got him a cardboard cutout that was on a display at a store of Austin Powers, and it had a motion sensor. So when you'd walk by it, it would be like, groovy, baby, yeah. Or it would be like, oh, behave. And so, like, this was then kept at the end of the hall. So if you walked to go to the bathroom, if you got up in the middle of the night, if you went to get a drink of water, Austin Powers was talking to you every single time. And it creeped me the heck out. And so every night I'd have to put a towel over Austin Powers' face so that he wouldn't creep me out in the middle of the night when I'd forget at like 3 o'clock in the morning that he was there. So
That's so unnerving. Oh my God.
I like had to remind we were just talking about this. I was like, why were you obsessed with this movie? I was like, I don't know, it's funny and like had a lot of good quotable lines and it was clever. And I was like, yeah, I understand. And I was like, but do you remember the cardboard cutout? And he had forgotten all about the fact that he had this like cardboard cutout of
Oh
Austin
my
Powers.
God. That's
So
so
yeah,
funny
like
though.
full life size. We're talking full size Austin Powers at the end of the hall.
That's that's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. It was because I'd forget that it was there, and then all of a sudden it'd start talking to me, and I'm like, this thing's got to go. Like, I tried to shove it in the closet, and it would come back out because my brother would be like, why is this in the closet? And he'd get it back out, and I'd be like, oh my God, this thing has a mind of its own. It's like showing back up places. Like,
Oh
then I
my
didn't know my brother put it back out, and so I was just like, oh my God, how did it get back here? It was like, it's possessed Austin Powers. It's like stalking me. And then I
yeah,
think
no.
my brother purposefully moved it all around so that it would like get closer to my bedroom and things like
Ah,
that. So, yeah.
that's so scary. Oh my God, that reminds me, my dad and stepmom, they have a life-sized statue of Santa Claus, and they keep it like by the stairway by our loft. So anytime you have to walk downstairs in the middle of the night and it's always pitch black, there's just this human figure. And it is so
All
scary.
year round?
No, like a few
Okay.
months after Christmas, they
Okay, so it's
typically
out
put
for
it
the
away.
season. So at least it's
Yeah.
seasonal and not
Yeah,
just like
the having
Santa's
Austin
always
Powers all the
watching
time.
you. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this Austin Powers was there for a couple years. So
Yeah, like that's really scary.
I don't know what happened to Austin Powers. actually. I don't know. He probably got thrown away. My brother probably took him and like ended up getting rid of him. He's kind of a minimalist, so he doesn't keep a lot of stuff like that anymore, but yeah. So what was your rating?
My rating was a 9 out of 10.
Nine
9
out
out
of
of
10. Oh, okay. That's higher than I thought it was going to be.
10. Yeah,
This
no.
would not be in my, I would be like maybe a 5.5, a 6. Like this is on the lower
Really?
side of my, yeah. Just
I
because
like
it's
this
like
movie.
watching it as an adult, I think is just a lot different than watching it as a kid in middle school. But yeah,
That's
it's not my humor. Some of it's my humor. Like the backing it up the cart was my humor. The running over the guy when you have 100 yards and the guy is still standing there, that's kind of my humor. Some of the weird, gross, like him being kind of pervy was not my humor.
See, I didn't like that, but I just thought it was so funny. Like, I didn't like that he did that. I thought he was kind of like he was probably my least favorite character. Austin was probably my least favorite character.
I'm
Scott
a
was
doc.
my favorite character
Yeah.
by far.
I liked Scott until he went on this like whole spiel about let's just shoot him, let's just shoot him, let's just shoot him. And I was just like, shut up about shooting him. You're supposed to be normal.
Yeah.
And
I
you just
almost
shot this
wondered,
guy.
like when I rewatched it, I thought that he was gonna like shoot Dr. Evil, like for the first time.
No, no.
That's
But
not
you
what
should see
happened.
why Dr. Evil didn't like what Dr. Evil wants out of a son in the next movie when you watch
Okay.
it. So anyway, I'm not gonna give out anyway. Well, shall we move on to our next watch?
Yes, now I have so many questions about the next movies. Why would you
I'm
do
not
this to me?
I you have to watch it on your own.
Okay.
Our next watch is a movie that had a resurgence last year thanks to millennial parents, Gen Z's obsession with the 90s, like yours. Disney Plus access, a good soundtrack, power line, a cute romance, and a better father and son story than the one we just saw. Now, this all comes to you from the 1995 A Goofy Movie. A Goofy Movie follows awkward teenager Max Goof, who to impress his high school crush, Roxanne, falsely claims he is going to Los Angeles to attend a concert by his pop superstar Powerline. Panicking, Max is forced to cancel his date when his overbearing father, Goofy, abruptly takes him on a cross-country fishing trip. Have you seen this one, Hannah?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. This one's
Now,
good though.
it's an animated one. This is the
Okay.
first, I think, animated one we've seen, right? Like kids movie animated. I'm gonna
Yeah,
want you to tell
Space Jam.
me what you think of the Leaning Tower of Chisa
Okay.
and Powerline.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Found. Um, is it literally like Goofy from Mickey Mouse?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay,
And
okay.
his
Cool.
son,
Okay.
Max.
Oh my God, wait. Okay, okay, okay. Yes,
And
I
this
do know.
was like all over everything last year. Like people were Powerline for their Halloween costume and Max for their Halloween costume and Goofy for their Halloween costume. People were doing videos to the Powerline song. People were doing like all sorts of it's really good music. It's like fun music. It's not it's just a good movie. It's a good movie. It's on
Okay.
Disney Plus.
Okay.
So we'll watch it there. And this is like our little break before we start hitting things like The Matrix and Independence Day and Jurassic Park and American Pie. So we're gonna have like all adult movies next. Um, but this is our
I'm so excited.
last little kid one just for a little bit longer. And it's not little kid one, it's just but this was a movie that we watched in
Okay.
elementary school, middle school. This was a classic. So
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm
good
excited for
movie.
this one.
And we won't have to censor out anything. So,
Yeah.
well, that is it for this episode of Millennial Meets Gen Z 90s edition. Thank you for hanging out with us, rewinding the 90s, one movie, one show, one chaotic conversation at a time. If this episode brought back a memory, introduced you to something new, made you want to revisit this movie, the Austin Powers 1 or Austin Powers 2 or Austin Powers 3, make sure you check that out. Also, follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you're getting the notification when we drop another episode. You don't want to miss the next episode. Come to find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and now Patreon for clips, behind the scenes moments, and all the extra conversations that don't make the episode episode. We talk about, we go through the Colbert questionnaire on Patreon. We talk about technology in the 90s. We talk about clothes and the Gen Z obsession with bringing back the 90s clothes, which they should not do.
Heck
They
yeah.
should not do.
Heck
But
yeah.
until next time, oh, behave and be kind and rewind.
Thanks for listening or watching, everybody.